No, I think
Agenda from last year's November Roads Committee meeting. Dave says I need to check my mailbox more, but I checked it on Friday when I was here. I promise.
Todd, you.
Chair. Do we have anybody?
I don't remember.
Oh, you know what? I will tell them that if they have.
I kind of thought you were last year, yeah. Because I am this year.
Comment card to.
It's kind of fun.
Well, we're talking.
No, absolutely.
Remind them that there will be an opportunity.
You know what I do is I go through, you're going to see, while we're going through the meeting, and I take a few notes of what I think is the best to talk about, and then I go through those. Just, I feel like that's the easiest way to do it.
I decided to leave everything not talk about anything.
When did you last do it? When did you last do it?
Yeah.
Oh, then Mr. Fisher, will you do it? Thank you.
Yeah.
I had the time for that.
I'd ask Mike, but he's got enough on his plate. 22?
Gonna get out our farm.
Todd, if you will go ahead and take care of that for me.
Gentlemen.
Okay, all right. Whoa, good evening. I will call to order this meeting of the Noblesville Common Council for Tuesday, July 15th. If you'll all please rise, and Mr. Thurston will lead us with the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you very much. Ms. Lees, will you call the roll?
Mr. Boyce.
Present?
Mr. Davis.
Present.
Mr. Elliott.
Present.
Mr. Johnson.
Present.
Mr. Peterson.
Here.
Mr. Schwartz. Mr. Smith.
Present.
Mr. Thurston.
Present.
Ms. Wiles.
Present.
Madam President, you have a quorum.
Thank you. Next is the approval of the minutes from the June 24th, 2025 meeting.
So moved. Second.
It's been moved and seconded to approve the minutes from June 24th, 2025. This is a hand vote. All those in favor, raise your right hand. 7
Abstain.
and 1 abstention.
Yes, please.
Mr. Elliott, you voted in favor, correct?
Yes.
So 7 in favor, 1 abstention. Mr. Davis, you want to talk about the agenda?
Madam President,
Yes.
I move to amend the agenda to withdraw ordinance number 1906-25 and consider ordinance number 220725 after approval of claims.
Second.
It has been moved and seconded to amend the agenda to withdraw ordinance number 19-06-25 and consider ordinance number 22-07-25 after the approval of the claims. This is a hand vote. All those in favor, raise your right hand. 8-0.
Move to approve the agenda as amended.
Second.
It has been moved and seconded to approve the agenda as amended. This is the hand vote. All those in favor, raise your right hand. 8-0. Okay. Petitions or comments by citizens who are present. I see a lot of people here this evening, which is terrific. If there's an item that you want to speak on, there are comment cards on the desk outside. If you'll please fill that out and bring it up to the clerk's table, we can have you speak at the time of that subject. For any zoning changes, there will be a public hearing at the Plan Commission meeting next week, so you will have an opportunity to speak at that time as well. So, are there any petitions or comments at this time? See no one, we will move on to the council committee reports. And Roads Committee and Mr. Boyce.
Yes, Roads Committee met last Friday on July the 11th. Myself, Mrs. Wiles, Mr. Thurston, and Mr. Schwartz were all present. We talked a lot about Pleasant Street. Phase 1 is moving along well. There's lots of punch list items, including the walnut decorative sidewalk that need to be done. Ground improvement for Phase 2 is also moving along well. And the 75-day closure is underway for Phase 3, which we talked about immensely, and it seems to be going really well from everything we're hearing. I mean, it certainly is painful and not fun for anyone, but I think the communication definitely helped, and the tunnel is underway for that. Oleo Road between 146th and 156th, we have a number of right-of-way purchases that are in process for that right now. And the 2025 street rehab is underway with West Haven and Lock Haven are complete. Cumberland, Cherry, and Allisonville are in current process, and South and West Harbor will be complete by the end of this month. Sagamore then will be the next thing that they're going to go after that. Forest Park to Federal Hill has now been renamed the ParkLink Pass. That's substantially complete in the ground opening. I know many of you were there for that recently. 146th Street over Allisonville, even though that is the county project, that roundabout is open and seems to be functioning very well right now. And then we talked a lot about a meeting that Todd hosted last night with the chamber that he spent a lot of time getting ready for and inviting people to, and so we're anxious to hear how that went.
It was awesome. Very well attended, hosted by the chamber. Their first of many regional meetings that they're going to host, and they're setting them up based on council districts. In particular, this one was built around the 32 project update, and then they talked about a few other things. But it was great, good turnout, and there will be one coming to your district soon.
Great, awesome, thank you.
Thank you. That's all.
That's all, great. Next is the Finance Committee, Mr. Davis.
Thank you, Madam President. We met July 10th. Pete Schwartz, Aaron Smith, and Todd Thurston, and myself. We had an update on the 2024 ACFR and financial audit returns with returns and results with Daniel Waniger of Forvis Mazars. John Hughes gave us a resolution to modify the trust indenture for Village of Federal Hill bonds. Amy Smith discussed the resolution for tax abatement compliance confirmation. Tom McDonald, Matt Light, and Madison Sanfilippo talked with us about a fiscal action additional appropriation for Arena at Innovation Mile. We're going to hear about that tonight. Tom McDonald and Allie Crespi talked about a fiscal action for additional appropriation, Embrace Downtown and Decorative Crosswalks. Tom McDonald gave us an update for the summary of routine appropriations transfers for RC-1-25, Section 1, Quarter 2, 2025. And Caitlin Kesner gave us an update of summary of appropriations of grant proceeds for RC-2-25, Quarter 2, 2025. And Jeff Spalding ended it with an update on the 2025 one-year bond Series A and B information. That and the claims docket review comes to the council with a favorable recommendation.
Madam President, move to approve the claims as submitted.
Second.
It has been moved and seconded to approve the claims as submitted. This is a hand vote. All those in favor, raise your right hand. 8-0. Thank you very much. Okay, we will move on to new ordinances for discussion. Council to consider ordinance number 22-07-25, an ordinance approving an additional appropriation in the general fund for operating expenses for the Arena at Innovation Mile and establishing a public hearing. Mr. Light and Madison Sanfilippo of Rev Entertainment.
Thank you very much, President Wiles and members of the council. Matt Light, Deputy Mayor, thank you for accommodating on the agenda update. The Arena at Innovation Mile is officially open, and I am pleased to have an opportunity to present to you for review and discussion a significant aspect of our overall strategy to drive revenue and bring community benefit to Noblesville through the Arena. Hunden Partners, who prepared this economic impact analysis, which I'll touch on in a few moments, has called this development a catalytic development for Innovation Mile and for this part of the city of Noblesville. And the G League, when we had the groundbreaking in November of 2023, referred to the model and the approach that we took as the model that they would like to see going forward with G League developments in other locations. We've been planning and working on our operational strategy and our budget for many months in partnership with Rev Entertainment and our other project partners. Before Madison from Rev talks some more about her company's profile and some of the drivers within the proposed budget, I wanted to add some important facts and figures, some timeline considerations, and in some cases kind of refresh memories collectively of some of the steps that we've taken along the way with this project and some of the figures that were relied upon in making recommendations from the mayor's office and in decisions that were made to approve the project moving forward. In the summer of 2023, after we had entered into the first term sheet with Pacer Sports and Entertainment, we issued an RFP for developer, construction, and operations partners. We reviewed the official submissions, and then we gained insights from a lot of key stakeholders on what would make a good partner and set of partners in that context. A lot of insight from the Pacers, certainly, as well as others within the area. Live Nation was really helpful in that regard. We also had some informal conversations too to inform that and kind of make sure that we were working with the best partners going forward to realize the benefits that we were trying to achieve. We were very impressed with the REV team, who you'll hear more from in a few minutes. They manage several indoor and outdoor facilities throughout the country and bring deep industry experience to the table. In that RFP response from the team that was submitted that we selected with Patch Development, Wilhelm Construction, and Rev Entertainment, they had revenue and expense projections that informed, again, their approach to recommend how we would work on constructing the project together and then operating it to drive revenue and community benefit. And those operating expenses started at about $3.5 million a year and then growing as events increased, and the revenues were in a similar vein in terms of the initial years and then growth after that. Those projections showed about 70 annual events initially, and then growing to around 100 events over time. Later, we engaged Hunden Partners, who has significant experience doing feasibility and economic development analysis, particularly around sports venues and entertainment venues, to help us with due diligence decisions on the project. And they pressure tested some of those projections on events, on revenues and expenses. They projected, which informed the economic impact analysis here that's rolled up in this summary sheet, just a little over 100 event days of utilization initially, and then increasing up to close to 130 days at kind of stabilization of the venue. They projected over a 30-year period, phase one of Innovation Mile, which the arena is the anchor entity within that, would generate $2 billion in net new spending and more than $900 million in net new earnings, as well as the job figures and the tax revenue collections that are shown on the screen. We later engaged Hunden to kind of refresh that analysis as the design had moved forward, and we made some adjustments to position ourselves, I should say, more effectively to various partners in terms of event hosting and flexibility in that regard, and also to help advise us on professional sports development area legislative efforts. And with a slightly different geographic area there, but with the arena still as the anchor site, they projected more than $1 million in food and beverage tax generation each year, more than $3 million in local income tax generation, and more than $5 million in state sales and income tax in the first full year, growing throughout the course of the review period up to $40 million annual within that PSDA area. We broke ground at the site in November of 2023. The council approved the project financing in December of 2023, and then we closed on the project bonds in April of 2024. Patch and Wilhelm have completed the construction of the project, and they've done that on time and within budget. So tonight, again, another key part of the strategy that we're executing in partnership with the stakeholders is to hear a request for seed money to fund the initial operations at the arena. We purposefully did not include a request for initial operating expenses in the 2025 budget request, as we were talking about those items with you about a year ago for a few reasons. We wanted to dial in more specifically as we got closer to the opening of the venue. That was about 10 months before it was projected to be open, and we wanted to make sure that we didn't staff up too soon or too late and really dial in a lot more of the particulars, including furniture and fixtures and equipment, and get more of a sense of the particular event types where we were likely to be spend more of our time and have more of our success. The figures that Madison is going to go through were detailed at the Finance Committee on Thursday, as Chairman Davis indicated, and will be further reviewed at the discretion of the chair to make sure that everybody's comfortable with the approach and the methodology used. We also talked with the Finance Committee about the contractual safeguards that are in place between the city and Rev Entertainment, as well as the approach that we'll take to providing regular financial and operational reports for the Finance Committee and the Community Development Corporation. The CDC was the issuer of the bonds for the project. So we know that this, again, is an overall a significant ask in terms of the additional appropriation request for seed money. But yet we would point out again that this was a key piece to the strategy that we've developed and have been working to execute and refine over the months, and not just with the capital investments, but with the operating revenue. But this is essentially an effort to, seed it, the fund, but then to have authority to spend the revenues then that come in that we expect to receive from various sources. So with that, I'm glad to answer any questions, but would otherwise hand it over to Madison from the Rev Entertainment to talk about further information about their company and the strategies behind this, and can answer questions either now or after she's presented.
Before Madison begins, any questions with Mr. Light?
Wonderful. Thank you, Matt, and thank you all for accommodating the agenda today. I really appreciate it. So just some detail and background. Matt did a great job about our role in the project. Our role is to fulfill and build out the calendar outside of the Pacers game. So 365 days is how we tackle the calendar, not through season to season. And in doing that, we bring community events, we bring those public events, the concerts, but really making sure that this event center is a community point of pride. And in seeing that, you will see the glamorous events, the concerts, the ones that you see billboards for. We've been fortunate enough in the last 2 days, we've announced 2 concerts that are coming to the facility in August. Oh, you guys do not see that. Nothing to see. So we've just announced 2 concerts at that facility, and that's what really excites people. But what you see in the revenue numbers are about so much more than those big events. The private events are a really big part of the budget, which we will get into. Your galas, your proms, your graduations. The team is in contact now with a local community college to do their 3-year graduation. So when we look at the calendar, we're not looking at 2025, just 2025. We're also not just looking at 2026, which I will be back in a few weeks to present those numbers as well. So we are looking at 3-year deals, and we have events that are signed and contracted through 2028. So that is where we come in as Rev, is we're your operator, but we're the partner. We're an extension of the city, and we have been working with Matt and team and making sure that we are another department, and we are, communicating, and we are representing Noblesville as part of our operations and our efforts here. While we wait for this, some other events that we have announced lately. Again, I mentioned the 2 concerts, but we have church events. We have one of those programmed and booked through 2028, and we've had several walkthroughs, the sales staff, and right now, Justin, our general manager, is here. Our full-time staff is 3 strong, and they have been operating in a great manner over the last 2 months, but as part of this budget, we'll be able to approve and get more staff on board. Some other updates, the staff has been attending venue meetings, regular conferences, and that is to connect, network, and help book, mostly those bigger picture items that you see. The floor also went down, and for those of you that have seen the facility firsthand, the pictures just don't do it justice. This is a beautiful asset to Noblesville. Every single corner you turn, there is not a place that is untouched, and that's something that we are very proud to operate, as this beautiful facility that we are looking at. The floor is down this week. We've been hosting boom camp for young kids, and so partnering with the Pacers Sports and Entertainment Group and the Boom to get them out. They're able to actually play on the floor with the Boom players. The kids have autographs, shirts, and so it's really great. I think it's a good example that isn't even our first public event, but we are already having kids come into the building and into the facility to get to enjoy it in that manner. There's an org chart slide that should come up next. So the org chart, I already mentioned our 3 staff. We have operations and general manager and sales. We have a talent booker job that is posted, and their role is to bring those bigger events to the facility, the concerts, the really exciting ones. We also have a marketing manager that will start with us in August. She just accepted the job this past week. We have another account executive that will be dedicated to sales, the proms, the galas, the non-ticketed events at the arena. And so our staff, as you'll see in the numbers, we operate on a lean staff, and that's because of the corporate resources that we offer at Rev. We are based in Texas. That's where accounting, HR, IT, and then our sports management division, we are all based back in Texas with regular communication with Justin and his team. Matt already touched on the economic impact in the Hunden study. What I want to be in Finance Committee last week helped talk through this. Our role in this project is to help generate a smaller gap between what the Pacers contract provides and what it costs to operate a venue. I have some venue comps that will show, based on similar size arenas, how much it costs to operate. There are 3 different examples in there, and if this doesn't end up working, you guys will see that after. One of them is a 6,000 capacity arena. It does have ice, so not very similar to this project. There are a lot of expenses that come with that. That arena costs about $9 million to operate annually. We have another one in there that's 6,000, no sheet of ice, and that arena is in the $5 million range to operate. And then we have one that is 4,200 seat capacity, which is very comparable to what we are operating here. And their startup in year 1 was similar to our numbers at $2.3 million in expenses and $2.4 million in revenues. I messed those numbers up. They were operating at a $100,000 loss as well. So I think that's important background. Is we've always been very clear, and again in our contract we have thresholds and measures to hit. If we do not perform, we're not doing our job, and the building does not have its lights on in the amount of days that we have guaranteed to have the lights on. So some background as far as how we go about it and how we operate and do our business. So going into the numbers, the Pacers G League rent is the biggest part of our operations for this year. We also have other sporting events, private events, club rentals, and self-promoted ticket revenue events. So those concerts that we have announced fall into that category. As well as concessions, and we've partnered with Levy, the concessionaire provider, and so they will operate not only the Boom games, but also all of the other events here. So we reflect their revenue numbers, which for the 6 months operating this year, our revenues are close to $2.4 million, which we are viewing at Rev. That's a tremendous win, just to speak quite frankly. If you look at our projected EBITDA for a year is less than, it's right around 100,000. And for venue year 1 to have the type of expenses that it costs to keep the lights on, the AC, to operate a venue of this magnitude, it's a big win for us to see those numbers. So that was a SparkNote version. I apologize that didn't work. But yes, do you guys have any questions? Yes.
Rev Corporate, how many facilities, arenas across the nation do you guys
We have
represent?
6 total facilities right now. We have 3 others that we used to operate and no longer do. And those are facilities that we used to have ownership in and sold our stake. So it was our goal to get out of them.
Interesting. Thanks.
Other questions for Madison? No? Okay. I think we've got it. And we'll be able to watch
Yes,
that again if we'd like
please
to.
review the
Yes.
presentation. I apologize. I hope I did it justice by memory. And thank you guys again for accommodating in the agenda. I appreciate it.
Thank you very
Thank
much.
you.
Yes, yes. Okay. I think for you,
Madam President,
Mr. Thurston.
I move to authorize the Chair of the Finance Committee to establish a public hearing.
Second.
It has been moved and seconded to authorize the Chair of the Finance Committee to establish a public hearing on this ordinance. This is a hand vote. All those in favor, raise your right hand. 8-0. Thank you all. All right, we will go back to miscellaneous item number 1. Council to consider the appointment to the Redevelopment Commission. Rick Taylor has served on the Redevelopment Commission for many, many years, but has stepped down. And so I'm very happy to share that I have met with Lindsay Phipps and am strongly recommending her to take Rick's seat on the Redevelopment Commission. And so that information was presented to all of you, but we need to officially vote on it.
Madam President,
Mr. Smith?
I move to approve the appointment of Lindsay to the Redevelopment Commission.
Second.
It has been moved and seconded to appoint Lindsay Phipps to the Redevelopment Commission. This is a hand vote. All those in favor, raise your right hand. 8-0. Thank you very much. Congratulations. You'll be sworn in at another time. Next item is council to receive an annual report from the Indiana Peony Festival and Ms. Kelly
Hello, I'm Kelly McVeigh with the Indiana Peony Festival, and thank you for allowing us to present today. And thanks for your support, both financial and in kind. I have to say, this year has been huge with the in-kind support. The street department, the parks department, the police, fire, the planning. All year long, they helped us really create a great festival. And on Festival Day, they were amazing. They, were all there all day long, crazy. But before I get started on some of the details about the festival, I wanted to show you a video. I want to take you back to May 17th, 2025, and let you all just experience the festival, whether you were able to be there or not, real quickly, if we can. I don't know if Patrick is going to be able to do that.
Somebody is.
Oh.
The grassroots event that's drawing. Hi, I'm Erin Light. It's the grassroots event that's drawing tens of thousands of people to Noblesville for an incredible day. The Indiana Peony Festival, downtown Noblesville, comes alive with unique shops, restaurants, and cafes. Ride the convenient shuttle. Enjoy festival-only specials. See stunning window decorations and floral installations all over town.
It's so important that we get to showcase our little town to so many people. We have so much to offer and we don't even realize it.
My daughters are coming in from Louisville, Kentucky. We're gonna eat at Rosie's.
Is there all the stores we have to go to?
The energy is electric. You have the scents and the smells of fresh cut flowers, all of the amazing restaurants that we have in downtown Noblesville.
We did a couple of seminars engaging recreational floral designers. I try to give them tips and tricks on how to get the most life out of your flowers.
Enjoy your adventure as you wind your way through blocks of unique vendor booths towards the festival's birthplace in Seminary Park, the heart of the Indiana Peony Festival.
From a few vendors here in the park to now we have vendors all the way down 10th Street, across Maple Street, and all the way into town.
They really focus on the experience. You know, they want everybody to enjoy themselves. They want it to be walkable. They want them to bring their families. And this event is just so unique. You know, there's nobody else that does it like Noblesville.
I feel like when we came here, we got welcomed with not just open arms, but like a big bear hug. So many people now want to come from out of state, and it's so cool to see that.
You'll see people from all walks of life, all ages, all backgrounds, all genders here today. I think if you look close enough, you're gonna find some balloon animals. I love the husbands who are here in support, carrying all the stuff, but I guarantee you they find something cool here today too, whether it's from a vendor, whether they're enjoying the music, or just getting a great cup of beer. There really is truly something for everybody.
We are so proud of our little town to have such a big festival, be part of our community, and I think the unique flavors and colors and beautiful displays are what we love about it.
I just love the peonies, the people. It's like stepping into a Hallmark movie.
Those are beautiful. It is so fun to shop here because there are so many different varieties of what everybody comes up with their small businesses.
It's been really cool to see how people are taking the peony theme and incorporating it into whatever they sell, whether it's like artwork or clothing or jewelry like me. I would say about 80% of the people that have stopped at my booth have bought something.
So last year I got this bag and then a sweatshirt, and I had to get another sweatshirt this year, and probably we'll get some flowers to walk around with because they're just gorgeous.
Is that awesome?
I was on our step ladder adding greenery and flowers into our piece, and I just had a moment like, oh my goodness, like this is my job. Maybe somebody else is gonna like figure out a new hobby or maybe a new career path.
The judge's choice for floral installation is the telephone booth, which has a really long line right now.
So I volunteered on the floral design committee. We drew up the plans for the phone booth, and my husband did the construction for it. We love getting pictures with our friends, our family. It's a way to preserve memories and like create more memories, and I think that's the coolest thing about having installations that are very photographable as well.
I'm Darren Peck, owner of Hometown Window and Door Company, and we're pleased to present the Chapter Book Lounge with a $1,000 check for winning the window decorating contest.
The competition was pretty fierce. There were some beautiful flowers. When I got the call that the judges selected my peony, I was so excited. Literally, as soon as I hung up, I screamed with joy and happiness because I couldn't believe that my peony won.
Peony Festival! I'm Erin Light. Plan your adventure today at IndianaPeonyFestival.com.
So, I ask after I see this, like, where are all the people coming from? Like, who are these people, you know? And so we get to work with tourism, and they provided us with a bunch of great data. So
I fell in love with peonies 15 years ago.
they estimated that we had 32,000 people there at this year's Peony Festival. They also tell us that we have a young demographic. Our biggest demographic is people 25 to 34, which is really cool. It brings a young vibe to our city and to the event. And and then 34 states were represented. So we had 34 different states there. 20 of them had over 25 people from that state. The top 5 states were our surrounding states mainly, some of them with 500 people that came from Ohio, Illinois, Kentucky, Michigan, Pennsylvania. I think the coolest stat, though, I love is 9,000 people came from over 30 miles away. So if you look at the next slide, that's the radius. I always think 30 miles is Indianapolis, but it's beyond Indianapolis. So just about a third of our people, not quite, are coming from outside 30 miles. You know, the closest is Crawfordsville. And so we're hitting all Indiana and surrounding states, and it's super exciting for us because we see all kinds of potential with this. So next slide, I can't remember. So what we did was we determined our economic impact, and we determined that using averages, industry averages, that we had 3.84 million in direct economic impact. That means people buying things at the festival. 32,000 attendees times $120, which is the industry average, gives you 3.84 million, and then 5.76 million in total economic impact for that one day. That really means a lot to all those small businesses, those vendors that are selling art and pottery and you name it. And then our downtown, the 60 businesses that participated in our Brunch and Blooms program. So we got a couple, we did a survey, and we have a couple of testimonials. Wild Bohemian, Allison Bear said her sales were up 1,300% from a regular Saturday, which is amazing. And then she increased 60% from last year's Peony Festival. She also said something that I thought was interesting. Not only does this event bring in sales that day, but we have followers now from across the state and even surrounding states that order from us online. So we forget that it's bringing in business on an ongoing basis as well. Lisa Wampler with Bar Ellis, we thought it'd be important to include her because she's new and it's her first experience. She usually has 260 customers that come into her place on a Saturday. She had 700, and that didn't include any of the people buying food at the outdoor, her outdoor area, and all the Dora drinks. I love what she says here. She says the amount of Dora beverages that were sold were extremely high, and it exceeded our expectations. So I think Dora was probably really great for a lot of businesses downtown on Peony Festival Day. One thing we're super proud about is our 4 Million Eyes on Noblesville. We worked tirelessly from January to May marketing this thing. And it is because of Lindsay McVeigh and Mackenzie McGilvery. They're marketing gurus. And we do social media, we do press coverage, we do email, we do website, we do signage, we do paid media. And it is about all we can do from March to the end of May is get all that marketing out. And it's not only marketing the festival, but we're marketing Noblesville, the downtown, the shops, the special peony drinks that they have. So when we're marketing, it's really a big benefit. Your 4 million eyes are on Noblesville from, February to May. So that's big. How did we improve in 2021? The biggest thing is the layout. That's all we heard was we extended it to 7 city blocks. It went all the way into town, across the street to the courthouse lawn. It was so much easier to get around. We also put in seating areas throughout the festival so people could sit down and eat and enjoy, and that's a lot of work. We also moved vendors out of the park to create more seating inside the park so people could enjoy the florals and walk around. And I saw people laying on the hill listening to the music. I was like, this is what we wanted, you know. It wasn't, you know, like this. So there was a lot of good improvements. We also like doubled our shuttle service. The shuttles were twice as big, twice as many, more restrooms, more wayfinding signs, bigger. So we just did a lot to make the experience better this year. People say, oh, what are your goals for next year? We got tons of goals. We got tons of things that we want to do. But the one thing that's near and dear to my heart that I really want to accomplish next year is I want Seminary Park and the courthouse lawn to be like you walk into a Hallmark movie. I want to make those things just fabulous. So we have a lot of logistic things we want to do. We have, you know, tons of stuff, but that's going to be our big one, to accomplish more with, you know, Seminary Park and with the courthouse square. People say, oh, it's just a one-day festival, and I'm like, it's a month-long celebration. May is crazy for us. It starts off with, we team up with Noblesville Creates on a couple of different events, and then we have 60 businesses that we've sold peonies to that are on the peony trail. So that's over 2,000 peonies that we've been planting for years. We'll have a lot more on the trail this year. So we have the trail, we have the passport, which SMC has helped us sponsor, and then downtown Noblesville celebrates in a big way. I mean, the flagpoles go up, and we coordinate the window contest that you heard about. Businesses start to have their peony cocktails. Businesses put out their peony stuff, and it is a month-long celebration. And we work all year long at it. We have 14 organized events that we do, but I won't go into all of them, but we work all year long, and our main goals are to beautify Noblesville and to get tourists to come to Noblesville. So that's what our events do, whether they're helping us finance those things or whether we're planting peonies or whatever we're doing, but working all year long on it. And our organization is so excited about where we're at, where we're going, what we're going to do next year. And we just are super excited too that we get to do it right here in Noblesville, right with our hometown. So that's really, I think, about it. So thank you all for presenting. Any questions or?
Any questions?
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Thank you, yes.
Thank
you. Huge impact on the community, for sure.
Awesome job.
Yes. Congratulations. Okay, we will move on to proposed development presentations. Council to hear an introductory information for a change of zoning for approximately 4.76 acres from I-1, which is light industrial, to R5 multifamily residential for property approximately 650 feet east of Willowview Road on the north side of the Midland Trace Trail. We have Michael Surek of Real America to give a presentation.
Good evening.
Good evening.
My name is Mike Surek on behalf of Real America Companies.
Can you also state your address, please, just for the record?
Yes.
Thank you.
8250 Dean Road, Indianapolis. So Real America Companies, we are just celebrating our 30th year in business. It comprises of Real America Development, Real America Construction, which is the general contractor on all of our developments, and then Real America Management, which is the property management arm of our company that manages and maintains our properties for the long term. I'm here tonight to introduce to you all, the council and those in the community, the Midland Trace Apartments proposed development that we've been working on for several years, or at least conceptually been talking about for several years, but we're really excited to gain some traction and introduce it to you all tonight. This is a partnership with Janus Developmental Services, which is also a relationship that we've had for several years now, and we opened up our first community with partnership with Janus Developmental Services called South Point Village in Fishers, which opened up in 2021. So since then, we've kind of been in talks with this particular property. Is the presentation able to get on the screen, or?
They're pointing in the back.
Oh, okay.
Patrick's like, what? I think it's coming. We'll
Otherwise,
pause
I
for
can
you for
speak
just
to
a
it.
second. Right.
Was I supposed to bring it or plug in?
I think, no.
Okay, sorry.
I see people scrambled back there.
Technology is a wonderful thing sometimes. Okay, sure. All right.
Sure.
All right. Thank you. That's all right.
Sorry.
Madam President?
Yes.
In the meantime, could you just tell us a little bit about Real America and your mission?
Absolutely. So the company was actually founded by Rhonda Shrewsbury, who's also my mom. So we're a family company. We've been in business for 30 years, like I said. Our primary core business is attainable, affordable, and workforce housing developments, and especially with different niche populations. So this particular development is for people with disabilities. IDD stands for intellectual and developmental disabilities. We've also done several other developments in partnership with various other nonprofit service providers. So we did one in Plainfield where we partnered with Sheltering Wings, which is a domestic abuse women's shelter, which has been very successful and well received. And so the development we're talking about tonight, this would actually be the fourth one that we've done where there's a community integration component for housing people with intellectual and developmental disabilities. So over the last 30 years, we've done approximately 50 developments throughout the state of Indiana. We're currently under construction on some developments one on the west side of Indianapolis, which is in partnership with a nonprofit called Seeds of Hope, which is a substance abuse program catered towards women. And so this is it's a family center for when women graduate out of the program. This is a place where they can be housed with their family and their children. In total, we've developed over 3,000 units. While apartments and this sort of housing is our primary focus, we've also done some other miscellaneous developments as well. We did a daycare development in Fishers called Children of America off of Lantern Road. We did a medical office building for Community North off of West 82nd, or East 82nd Street. And we've done some self-storage developments as well. But apartments, housing is our core, our passion, and it's really what the company was founded on when Rhonda started it. So the site that we're talking about here is just south of 32 off of Willoughby Road. As you can see here, I have a little nostalgia with this property as I played baseball growing up, and so I'd go to the batting cages that are no longer there. But it's really neat to be working on this now. And so a little bit of backstory with it is, like I said, we've been in touch with Janice about this for several years now. And so, and the city conversation started in 2023 as well, where there was kind of some work sessions. Chuck Lehman was involved with some land planning, and there was the goal or vision to have a community park with a dog park component, trailhead, and then Be-Free Bakery and Cafe to have a location there right off of Willoughby Road. And then with Janice being the owner, but their operations being directly next door, there was a big push and there's a need for housing for people with disabilities, and what better location than this. And so we strategically positioned our site for this proposed development in the red box that you see up there. We want to be mindful of everything in the surrounding areas. We realize that there's a neighborhood to the south, and we felt that this particular location, first of all, you have a lot of screening with the mature trees along the Midland Trail, but you also have a detention pond there to the south. We feel out of all 16 acres that the city is currently acquiring, this 4.76 seemed to be the best fit. And so Janice wound up putting out an RFP back in 2023, and that's when we responded, the city responded, other folks responded as well, and fortunately the city was selected and there was a carve-out kind of component for our housing development. So this is a preliminary site plan we have, and I really want to caveat the remaining renderings and elevations that you'll see is that this is a very preliminary concept. Right now we're focused on submitting an application for the necessary funding for this sort of development, which is very competitive. They're federal tax credits, but it's administered by the Indiana Housing and Community Development Authority. But it's really the most effective tool to be able to create this sort of housing development. But we have put a lot of thought into at least the layout and what the general feel of this 4.76 acre site could look like. And so what you see here is a mix of single-story and two-story apartment buildings. So there's 5 of those. The single-story buildings are on the east and west side. You have a central parking and clubhouse building. The standalone clubhouse, I'll get into some amenities that we are proposing in a little bit, but we realize this is a part of the Midland Trace design overlay. We've reviewed those standards. We have a design team engaged at this point that are fully aware, and we understand the importance of building something that everyone will be proud of. We are in this for the long term, so we want to own and manage it and operate it in the way that people that want to own it long term would like to. So we realize there's 360-degree architecture design requirements and also trail connections as a part of that overlay. And so we're mindful of the setback requirements and other associated design requirements there. Go to the next slide. Again, I know this is a busy agenda tonight, so I'm not going to go through everything here, but generally speaking, what we have right now is a 60-unit total development with a mix of 1 bedrooms, 2 bedrooms, and 3 bedrooms. So with IHCDA administering the tax credits, in order to do this development, there's a minimum requirement to have 25% of the units set aside for people or families with disabilities. And so there's 15 of the total 60 units that are set aside that we have to rent to people with disabilities. However, there is no restriction on above and beyond that. And so I want to make that clear that at our current South Point Village development in Fishers, which is similar, it's nearly 40% of the units are currently occupied by people with disabilities. And we have a wait list of over 150 households to get on there. And of that wait list, I'll get into it in a minute when we get to South Point, but I want to make it clear that we fully anticipate, especially with Janus being next door, Janus will have offices on site at our community clubhouse building. They will be the primary and lead referral source for these units. I believe Tim White may speak a little bit as well, but there's a huge need in Noblesville and Hamilton County in general, and so we fully anticipate the majority of this property to be occupied by people with disabilities or families with people with disabilities. And Janus does a lot of wonderful things, operating the Hamilton County Express right there, so transportation for these folks is huge. Our South Point Village development in Fishers is still, while it's close, it's still 15, 20 minutes away. And so to have that luxury of the transit system right there, I think is huge. And then all they're doing with employment opportunities, there could be opportunities with the dog park, with Be Free Cafe, of course Meyer, Wawa, everything else that's being developed along that corridor. And again, the purpose of tonight is to present the request for rezoning. And so it's currently zoned industrial. And so we feel that rezoning the property from industrial to residential or multifamily use is much more suited for this particular location. So again, these are very, very conceptual, and there will be a lot of thought and work that goes into producing higher quality renderings and showing what materials will be used here. I think the best example we can point to is South Point. I keep referring back to it, but would welcome a tour for anyone to come down and see it, because that's an important part of the downtown Fishers Nickel Plate District, and so we're really proud of what we did there, and there will be a lot of attention and work into what these buildings will ultimately look like. For the purposes of our funding application that's going in on July 28th, they require elevations, renderings, and general plans, and so that's what we've been focused on right now. This is a long, we still have work to do. So again, just basic imagery, and I'll show examples of our existing developments later on as well. These are some pictures from some current communities that we own and manage. And so we're planning to have a computer center, a computer room that can be used by all residents. There's a multi-purpose room in there as well where some communities we have outside tutors come in to help with whether it's getting a GED or helping with financial aid applications or job applications, resume building, stuff like that. We'll have a fitness center. We'll have a playground. Outside we will have a dog park. We've also been putting in dog washing stations in all of our developments, as we've seen that those have been very popular. And of course, with this being along the Midland Trail, there will be ample bicycle parking throughout the property. This is an example of some of our current portfolio. The bottom middle one is South Point Village. Some of these I realize are all 3- or 4-story buildings, so not a complete accurate picture of these buildings, but at least gives an example to some of our current developments. This is South Point Village. Like I mentioned earlier, the waitlist is actually over 400 households to get in there. And I did pull some statistics on the waitlist. So there's currently 28 people on the waitlist for 1-bedroom apartments that have intellectual or developmental disabilities. There's currently 35 people on the waitlist for 2-bedroom units that have intellectual or developmental disabilities. And so one thing we've noticed with South Point Village is once it filled up, the turnover was pretty low. And so there's unfortunately been an active wait list, but I think it speaks to the demand for this sort of housing. And I also noticed that there was 10 out of the units were occupied by elderly residents as well. So we think there could be a mix of some of that population as well here. This is an example of a development we did in Fort Wayne, which is a single-story product. That's why I included it here, but this can give at least somewhat of an example. We're not planning to do garages necessarily here with Midland Trace, but it gives you an idea of what a single-story building could look like. There will be a patio on each one of those units, and then in the 2-story buildings there will be either a patio or a balcony with each unit. This was a recent development we did in Warsaw. Again, we have a kind of a play cafe, almost is what it was called, in the community building where children can play while parents are working or applying for jobs and stuff like that. Dog park there. You all know the location. I included this in here. We can maybe move forward from this one. This just kind of goes over the history that I already touched on as well. Janice issued the RFP in October of 2023. So we've really been working on this and speaking with the city and Janice about this since 2022, actually, before they put out the RFP. This is confusing. I apologize for including it in here now, but this is an old site plan that goes back to September of 2023. And the reason why I showed this is that there had been thought at this time, or going back that far, about the trailhead, the parking, the dog park. This is not accurate today, but I wanted to at least just show that there was thought into why we chose this location. Then I just pulled this for alignment with the existing comp plan with the city. Diversity of housing types, which encourages housing for people with disabilities, promoting infill redevelopment, and expanding attainable and workforce housing. We have a range of housing options here, and then supporting mixed use and complete communities which can interact with the rest of the greater development here by the city. And then plan for all ages and abilities, which again touches on inclusive housing for people with disabilities and of all ages. This is just the zoning map. Then this is the unit mix that we have right now. And so I included this just to show, with the funding that we receive, they're federal tax credits. So it's an IRS code. And so they're all based on income. So this is not subsidized housing. The government's not paying rent for these units. It's all income-based apartments. And so it's dependent on the area median income, which the current area median income for Hamilton County for a 4-person household is $110,000. And so we have a mix of 30% AMI units, 50% AMI units, and 80% AMI units. And so I included these rental rates down here to give an idea that even an 80% AMI unit in Hamilton County is still a lot of rent. And so I'm not saying that we were going to charge this amount, but the maximum allowable rent that can be charged before utility allowances is quite high. And that makes up 28 of the 60 units are 80% AMI. We fully anticipate that those are going to be discounted and they'll be rented for whatever the market supports. But we have a mix of 12, 30% AMI units, 20, 50% AMI units, and 28, 80% AMI units. And with Janice, and Tim can maybe speak to this, but sometimes there's roommate situations where multiple individuals with disabilities are living together. They may or may not be on SSI. They may have other sources of income. And so when you put those people in one household together, the AMI level fluctuates based on how much that household's earning. This is just a snippet from IHCDA's Qualified Allocation Plan, which touches on community integration. So I mentioned earlier that we're not allowed to set aside more than 25% of the units for people with disabilities. That's where this number comes from, but there's absolutely no restriction on a maximum amount that you can have there. This is just some data that we got from market study. Currently, all but one other tax credit development in the area is 100% occupied. Some of these have wait lists, but current occupancy is 99.7%. Then we've really been engaged with the community for a while now. We've received a number of support letters. We want to make active efforts to meet with others in the community, including the residents at Willow Lake. And we want to just open up the opportunity to get any feedback, any concerns, and just be mindful of all parties that this development may impact. This is a timeline assuming that we do receive a successful funding award in November, on November 20th. And so all said, we would be looking to close about 6 months from that award date, which would put us at May or June of next year, with the anticipation of starting construction shortly thereafter. But it could be, there could be some, a little bit of flex in those months. But if everything goes well, then we'd be looking to open and operate and start leasing up in the fall of 2027. And I think that could align well with the rest of the development that the city's planned for the park and Be Free Cafe. It's just a pretty picture of our team, and then some general information on us, but touched on these earlier. And I've included a little bit of services that our company offers, which is development, design, management, and construction. We've received several awards, both statewide and nationally, for some of the developments we've done. We've included a few of those in the next slide. And with that, I'll close it out. I want to thank you all for the chance. Thanks city staff for all they've done to help support us get to this point as well. So thank you all. And if I can turn it over, or I guess any questions before I...
Any questions?
I have one real fast. When using Fishers as an example, when you have somebody turn over, does the first right of refusal go to someone with disabilities that is on the wait list, or how do you decide?
It all depends on the order of the wait list.
Okay.
So that's a good question, but it still has to follow fair housing requirements. So it's based on kind of a first come, first serve.
All right, thank you.
And I guess another point of that too, we open up for applications about 90 to 120 days before we anticipate opening the community. We have an MOU with Janice. Our management staff already knows Janice, and so leading up to that date, Janice will be fully aware of when the application's open, and people can start getting on that list and applying.
Great. Any other questions? Would you like to share anything from Janice?
Tim White, President and CEO with Janus. Thank you for give me a few minutes this evening. And based on our experience today with the South Point project, we are the entire team at Janus is very enthusiastic, to say the least, about this project. One of Michael's last slides talked about what if everybody could live in a thriving, beautiful community, and South Point Village is just a total reflection of that. So, and the need is tremendous. With our facility in Noblesville, we know we've got somewhere between 30 and 40 individuals due to, aging out type issues and so forth. Family situations would very much like to entertain this living arrangement. So, yeah, we just love the partnership. It's thrived in Fishers, and look forward to this in Noblesville. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you, sir.
So no action is being taken on this tonight. You'll go through the Plan Commission next week and then come back to the council for a change in the zoning strictly, and then we will move forward. If that gets approved, we will move forward with the design and all of that. So,
Sounds good.
thank you very much.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. Thank you, Michael.
All right. Next item is to hear an introductory information for a downtown mixed-use project on approximately 2.68 acres to include retail space, apartments, and a parking garage to be known as the Greenery at 501 South 9th Street and including parcels to the south to Walnut Street between 8th and 9th Street. And we have Mr. Brandon Bogan of Flattery and Collins to make a presentation.
Good evening. Brandon Bogan, 115 Edgewater Drive, Noblesville, Indiana. I'm the Vice President of Development Operations for Flaherty and Collins Properties. So this is an introductory of the project, but I feel like we've been here multiple times for this project. It's been exciting. This, quite frankly, we're about 12 years kind of in the culmination of where we are of getting this thing on and moving forward, and we're excited to be at this point. I feel like today we're at a situation where we've got the development agreement that I think we're fairly in concert with at this point and ready to be executed, hopefully within the matter of days here. And with that, today I come for you with basically a project plan is very similar to where we were before. This is our site plan showing our new project, situated right off of the Pleasant Street connector there at 8th Street and Walnut Street. The project is 222 units, approximately 4,800 square feet of commercial space. It'll be made up of 1 bedrooms, 2 bedrooms, 2 bedroom plus dens, and some studio units. These will be market rate units throughout the development. This plan you're seeing here in front of you, it shows the blue is the units, the red is the commercial, and the yellow represents the amenity space throughout the building. There in the center of the building, just to the north side of it, is a parking structure which will house about 300 parking spaces to support the resident, as well as the first floor will have public parking spaces on it as well. And this development, I think we can flip to the next rendering. We've been working through the design with staff. I think we've come to a position now where we've got a nice development that will fit Noblesville in terms of the aesthetics of it. I, as a resident, am very excited about it. Jerry Collins, one of our founders, he's a Noblesville resident as well. Extremely excited. We're excited to have a project here in the community. We wanted this for quite some time. With that, the overall development itself is pretty much ready to go. We're currently 80% construction documents, and our goal would be to start construction in November, assuming all goes well with the rezoning and that the process for that is smooth. I would say within the overall development here, the budget of this project is approximately $47 million, and we're about $64 million as overall total development and investment within the community. And that brings us to this sheet, which really shows the data of the project. It's probably very difficult to read at this point, but this really just shows kind of what the building is comprised of in terms of unit counts and where we are. It's a 200,000 square foot structure spanning across multiple parcels here, and really we view this as a collaboration with the city to come to this position of where we are with the development. We're excited about it. We're excited about the fit within it and really providing an opportunity for new residents here in Noblesville, as well as existing residents who want to be close to downtown. With that, if there's some additional questions on the project, I don't want to spend a tremendous amount of time. I know many of you have seen this many times, and I don't want to waste your time.
Any questions?
I had one quick question.
Yes.
On the
Sure.
floor plan, I couldn't quite tell. if you're parking in the garage, does that connect over to the like, can you go inside to the retail space, or does you have to go around the outside?
So for the retail space, based on where it's located, you will have to walk outside the garage and walk, can we flip back to the site plan? Basically, what you would do there is, when you would walk out the parking garage, you see the blue kind of wing that pops up, and that is between that wing of the building and the existing cellular tower that stays on the site. You would walk out to that walkway, straight out to 8th Street, and then down to the commercial space.
Any other questions? All right, thank you very
I appreciate your
much.
time.
All right.
Thank you all.
Have a good evening. Thank you.
sir.
All right, next item is council to hear an introductory information concerning amendments to the Unified Development Ordinance relating to government use overlay. Sarah Reed, good evening.
Good evening. This item before you tonight is an introduction for a proposed amendment to the city's existing government use overlay district that was established in 1996. These updates are intended to create a balance between the government's role to provide services to citizens while being fiscally responsible with taxpayer dollars. Many government uses are tax exempt, therefore it's very important that they be coordinated based on location with assessed value in mind. These regulations are particularly important for county seats like Noblesville, as many countywide government services and nonprofit agencies are located here. As an example, today we have 2,354, to be exact, acres of tax-exempt properties within city limits, and that is just about 9.4% of our total land area. So very important that we take a look at this in light of SB 1. And this is an intro for you tonight, and we'll be back. Actually, we'll go to Plan Commission Monday and then back to you for a vote after that. Happy to answer any questions if you have any.
Any questions for Sarah? Okay. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
See you next time.
All right.
All right. New ordinance for discussion. Council to consider ordinance number 21-07-25, an ordinance regarding encroachment ordinance amendments. Denise Eshelman.
Move to introduce.
Second.
Good evening.
Good evening. Staff has actually been working, planning, engineering, street, the mayor's office have been working on an amendment of the city code for approximately the last 5 years. We had done a full rewrite in 2012. It didn't actually change any of the text. It rearranged it and made it easier for contractors to follow. We have reached a point where we knew that it was time to completely change these provisions to help us work through some situations we've had. One of the main contributors was that we're seeing more life out of our asphalt as we put it down, and part of protecting that is done through the encroachment ordinance. So one of the first things we did, which I will always do, is add definitions to the ordinance. That is the easiest way for us to help or hurt ourselves, as Mr. Hughes knows. We also included insurance and bonding requirements. We previously had not enforced them, and that is one of the best ways to protect ourselves for contractors that are working in our right-of-way. We also put in clear notification requirements for contractors doing work in neighborhoods. Previously, it really wasn't clear how they were supposed to notify, and so street department and even planning and engineering get lots of calls like, what are they doing in my yard? And so this will be helpful. They're required to notify before starting work in the area. It added specific requirements for excavation and boring. In recent years, we've had more incidences of utility strikes using those particular methods of construction. And it's just setting out clear expectations from us for the contractors working in our right-of-way. In addition to that, previously, this ordinance has never had stop work capabilities. So if we did have a contractor violating the ordinance, street department did not explicitly have the right to stop that work from occurring. And that is one of the provisions that has specifically been added into this section. On the road surfaces, previously, we tried to dissuade people from cutting asphalt in the first 3 years. It is incentivized with an additional fee based on the year to cut that asphalt. It does come with additional maintenance costs for us, and cutting asphalt is the quickest way to lessen the lifetime on that asphalt. There were then some administrative changes. Currently, downtown encroachments, permanent encroachments, and community encroachments, which most of you will know as block parties, are in the encroachment section. Encroachments will now become mostly related to construction, and Chapter 95 is right-of-ways, and those chapters move to Chapter 95. They become new sections within that chapter. The majority of the text from those is just a move. We will most likely be reevaluating downtown encroachments after the streetscape project is over. There was one change within that section. We do have some restaurants that use our alleys and sidewalks for expanded seating capacity for their businesses. The previous version of the ordinance did not require them to share. It also did not require them to pay a fee for the months of use. They paid a flat $100, got to use it the entire, I believe it's April to October, and didn't increase the fee. This fee adds a notification requirement where if we are approached for use for a alley or a street for another user, we give 2 weeks written notice, and they have to allow the other user to use the alley. And it moves from the $100 for the season to $100 for each month that they use it. And then the last thing, fees. Renee, Gully, and myself, we've both been here about 24 years. To our knowledge, the fees in the encroachment ordinance have not been changed in that time. So there are some proposed fee increases in the ordinance that would try to cover the increased costs of enforcement of these regulations. Board of Works did receive information on this. They are the primary enforcing authority on the encroachment regulations. They heard it this morning and gave a recommendation to adopt.
Questions of Ms. Eshel? Mr. Thurston?
Madam President, I do have a question. So some of the stuff is like blocking off things for, you mentioned lot parties. Still doing those through the website, applying for those through the website?
Yes, it didn't change the procedure on how to do them. It just changed where the regulation was located.
And then you mentioned some of the fees changing. Nonprofits still?
We would still look at nonprofits, and other organizations would not necessarily pay fees.
Okay, thank you.
Madam President?
Yeah, Mr.
Yes,
Johnson.
and Denise, as Mr. Thurston said, the street department administers, but planning must review as we have changes, or how do all of these changes get filtered into?
So I have kind of de facto become the ordinance writer for a lot of people.
Lucky.
Lucky
So-
you,
Yes, lucky me, yes.
or lucky them.
So that was my main contribution to this. I feel I have a pretty good grasp on making ordinances readable to not an expert in the field. Engineering and street are the primary departments that do see these. Street handles the, I'll call them routine, even though nothing is really routine, applications. And then when there are things that they see that concern them or they think need additional review, they are forwarded to our engineering team to go over them.
Very good. I like the addition of the stop work.
It's a tool we've had in planning, and it honestly was a long time coming for them.
Other questions, comments?
I just have
Mr. Smith?
one comment. Thanks for looking at what we do downtown. I know that's something that the Downtown District Committee has ruminated on for years, and so to have somebody take action on it, I think that's a great solution.
Great.
Yeah. And as I said on that section, the Embrace Downtown project definitely will probably change how we look at it in the future too.
Right, yeah.
We knew we weren't ready to do that at this point, but we didn't want to hold up these
Yep.
changes.
Good step forward. Thank you.
Okay. We'll see you in a couple weeks. Thank you very much. All right. Council to consider ordinance number 23-07-25, an ordinance approving an additional appropriation in the Downtown Development Fund for Embrace Downtown Professional Engineering Services and enhanced visibility crosswalks from Federal Hill to Forest Park Trail and establishing a public hearing.
Move to introduce.
Second?
All right, Tom McDonald. I do not see Ellie Kravsky, but
Madam President, members of the council, Tom McDonald, Deputy Financial Officer. So this additional appropriation request would provide the spending authority to use part of the cash balance that exists in the Downtown Development Fund for two purposes. One is to help support the contract for the final design of Phase 1 of the Embrace Downtown project. That in this request is $300,000. And then second, to install two enhanced crosswalks or decorative crosswalks near Federal Hill, one being at Logan and Nixon Street and the other across from the drive from the nearby Kroger. This portion of the request is $75,000, and there are currently limited crossing options in that area. This is to enhance pedestrian safety. These actions are based on recommendations by the Downtown District and Parks Committee made at its May 30th meeting. And again, in terms of the financing, this would be drawing down part of the balance that exists in the Downtown Development Fund. It would not be using general tax revenue that's being collected this year. So happy to answer any questions.
any questions? I'll just make a comment that sometimes the language that we have to use through these things drives me crazy, because it's really not an additional appropriation. This is money that's already been set aside to enhance the downtown area. It's just moving it from one fund to another. So this is money that we've already dedicated to this purpose. So
Dedicated and saved for.
dedicated and saved for, correct, yes.
Madam President, I will add one additional comment. We did discuss this at Finance Committee as well, deeper dive, and also came recommended. No big hiccups or any concerns there at all.
Okay, great, awesome.
Madam President,
Mr. Davis.
I move to establish a public hearing for ordinance number 23-07-25 at our next regular meeting.
Second.
It has been moved and seconded to establish a public hearing for ordinance number 23-07-25 at our next regular meeting. This is a hand vote. All those in favor, raise your right hand. 8-0. Thank you very much. Miscellaneous continued. Item number 3, council to consider resolution RC-24-25, a resolution concerning the approval of annual tax abatement compliance forms. Mrs. Smith, thank you for waiting.
Oh, no problem.
Good evening, councilors. The resolution before you approves the real and personal property tax abatement compliance forms for 2025 pay 26 taxes. As you probably remember, annually, the Economic Development Department receives compliance forms from businesses with an active abatement for both real and personal property. The memo you were provided in your packet highlights some information and on abatements, community engagement, and abatement fees, and I'll just touch on a few points in the essence of time, saving some time. There are 24 active real property abatements. One will fall off. This is final year. That's for D&D Pharma. Gross assessed value for these abatements is $259,661,900. There are 7 active personal property abatements. One abatement is in its final year, and that's next spine. Of the abatements, 2,269 jobs were reported, and that includes new and retained jobs. Salaries for these jobs total $167,067,628, resulting in an average wage of $73,627. As of 2020, you'll remember, we instituted a program where businesses with an abatement, must report annually on community engagement. This graphic here shows the types of activities that the businesses are partaking in. Topping out those are sponsorships, donations, and volunteer hours. There are 10 businesses currently. That makes up 12 abatements, so 2 of them have 2 abatements. And so we're hoping to grow this program even more as we approve new abatements, and also for other just economic development agreements where there's not abatement included. There is additional information in your packet regarding abatement fees. I won't go over that individually. And then this item was presented to Finance Committee at their meeting last week. I would ask for your approval of the resolution that confirms substantial compliance, and I'm happy to answer any questions you may have.
Any questions of Mrs. Smith? Mr. Johnson?
Yeah, real quick, thank you, Amy. What recourse does the city have for businesses we have given tax abatements to that are not fulfilling their commitment to jobs or community engagement, or where do we go? I mean, with Senate Bill 1 and the dollars, with residents being concerned for you're giving away too much. I just want to make sure what recourse do we have to assure that.
So I'll speak for a minute, and then I'll let Andrew jump in
no,
probably.
that's fine. That's fine.
So we, as of 2020, as of Andrew taking over our department, we have instituted a policy, I guess you could say, where each abatement has an economic development agreement. And in those agreements, there are clawbacks that we can either meet with them to just hear what their issues are. We could rescind the abatement. We could ask for repayment. So we have made advancements in how we are handling those types of things. In prior years, resolutions were the only thing that approved the abatement, and there was a lot of loose language regarding employment numbers and dates by which they must be completed. So we've really tried to make a push to firm those up and have specific timeframes for meeting those requirements that they're saying that they will when they apply for the abatement. So there are recourses in our economic development agreements that we could take.
Have we had to utilize those to claw back or to rescind?
We have not.
Good.
No, we had somebody who was late on their filing, and so we pulled them in here and made them not only file their documents, but explain to you why they were late. So we take even the reporting requirements pretty serious. It's important that we can report to the community that they're being good community partners and that they're providing the things that we requested.
And we do have a fee associated with that non-compliance request of $1,500 to cover our time and the process of getting that reviewed.
Thank you.
Again, I'll just emphasize that prior to 2020, we didn't have that language,
Correct.
but we have now implemented that. So for everything that's been happening since that time
Since
period,
20.
we have those. Some of the reports in here, I believe, were put into place before that, but we are serious. We want to make sure that the businesses that we're trying to support, they're doing what they said that they were going to do.
And that's exactly what that says, is that those who we are offering those incentives to are indeed fulfilling their requirements and being good community.
Partners.
Good community members. Thank you. Thank you, Madam President.
I just have one follow-up
Yep.
question to that. Like, I saw the term in there, substantial compliance. Can you talk about what that means? I don't know who that's better for between the two of you.
Andrew.
So we look at it as a holistic approach. We look at investment, wages, job types, community involvement. We don't just necessarily say, oh, you might not have made your employment number, and then we're just going to rescind your abatement. We have business partners who automation has become important for because of the type of work that they do and getting qualified workers to do that work. And so when they applied for that abatement, the situation might not necessarily be the same. So we want to look at it holistically to see of all these factors that you're reporting on and that we have you commit to, how are you as a whole meeting all those obligations?
Yep, thank you for that. For myself, but also for this body, if there's ever anything that you guys need for backup, if there's somebody that's not in compliance, I'll be the first one there, but I know that there's 8 others, that are willing to do the same thing. So I appreciate you guys for
Thank you for
doing
your
the hard work.
support.
I'm just curious if this gets discussed in the Economic Development Committee, maybe there's some short-term gaps. I mean, there were a couple on there that did look pretty out of compliance, and it'd be interesting to hear their story. I don't know if we want to do it here, but certainly the Economic Development Committee meeting, what's going on with a couple of those businesses.
Yeah, I would say some of those were the earlier ones where we had the flexible or no deadline to meet those employment numbers, but certainly if that's what the committee would like, we would certainly discuss having some sort of meeting.
And the reporting requirements are not very onerous on are they? Are the reporting requirements that we have?
It's a state
very
mandated form
onerous?
that they have to fill out and turn in, and then we review them, and we have a third-party firm that also helps us review that information.
Mr. Thurston.
Just a comment, if I could, Madam President. I think, and I've talked in great detail with several members of our Economic Development Department about this multiple times, and especially since they've made the changes, everyone is in compliance. I think what's overlooked there is when you bring that to us, how much you're vetting those. We're not having to deal with people. We're not having to deal with companies who aren't doing their legwork. So, as I was thinking about it later today, as we had this conversation, you're bringing good quality businesses to Noblesville that we don't have to worry about them not keeping up their end of the bargain. And I appreciate that.
That's
So
our
thank you
goal,
for that.
certainly, and we've
Yep.
really changed the types of businesses that we would approve for an abatement. Since 2020, higher investment, higher wages,
Yep.
so focusing more on good quality.
Yeah. I think you're doing a good job, so thank you.
Keep it up.
Thanks.
Thank you very much.
Keep it up.
Would someone like to make a motion?
Madam President,
Mr. Davis.
I move to approve resolution RC-24-25 as presented.
Second.
It has been moved and seconded to approve resolution RC-24-25. This is a hand vote. All those in favor, raise your right hand. 8-0.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Amy.
Council to consider interlocal agreement. Mr. Hughes, you're gonna do that as well? Interlocal agreement with Hamilton County for improvements to Oleo Road. Mr. Hughes.
Thank you, Madam President. Good evening, council. A lot of things working against me tonight. First of all, I'm standing in for Ali Krupski, which is very difficult shoes to fill. And second of all, I had to follow Amy Smith. I'm not sure that's a role anyone should have to fulfill. That's a tough act to follow. The first item that I'm addressing tonight is the interlocal agreement with Hamilton County. You have previously approved this project and the acquisition of land for this project. This is the Oleo Road expansion. We are diligently, and engineering department is diligently working to try to acquire all these without having to go through the condemnation process. Unfortunately, though, if we do have to go through that because there are parcels outside of the county, we work with our county partner at Hamilton County to make sure they know about it, and they give us the authority to condemn the roads, any roadway parts that would be outside of the county. Also, there is a bridge on this road as well, and so this interlocal agreement allows us to
construct the bridge, and then we will own and, or we'll construct the bridge, and then it'll be a county asset. So happy to answer any questions you have, pretty straightforward, nothing new on the project. I can report that we have 17 total parcels on this project, and we're still working to try to get as many acquired as we can without going through, but we believe we're on track for 15 right now without having to go through condemnation. So we're hoping to close the last couple. Things may change on 3 of them as offers are just going out, but we're on track to try to get as many as possible acquired through negotiation. Happy to answer any questions you have.
Any questions, Mr. Hughes?
Madam President,
Mr. Davis?
I move to approve the interlocal agreement with Hamilton County for improvements to Olio Road.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to approve the interlocal agreement with Hamilton County for improvements to Olio Road. This is a hand vote. All those in favor, raise your right hand. 8-0. Council to consider Resolution RC 27-25, a resolution of the Common Council of the City of Noblesville, Indiana, approving a first supplemental trust indenture. Mr. Hughes.
Thank you again, Madam President. Jonathan Hughes, City Attorney. The second item that I have before you is a resolution that's a little bit of a technical matter. This is for the bonds that we had on the Federal Hill project. That project, the trust indenture says that payments have to be made in increments of $5,000. But the first mandatory sinking fund payment from the developer that purchased the project, these bonds are purchased by the Hageman Group. The first mandatory sinking fund payment is $84,000, which is not divisible by 5. So they came and requested that they would change that to divisible by 1,000. It doesn't impact us, doesn't change how the matter is structured. It's just a matter of how the bonds can be paid. And so for that technical cleanup, we have this resolution. I would request your approval.
I love government work.
Any questions or comments for Mr. Hughes?
What's a trust indenture?
So the trust indenture is the document that is part of the bonds that tells the trustee this is what basically the bonds have to look like, this is how the payments have to be made, those sort of technicalities in the bond.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Other questions?
Madam President,
Mr. Davis?
I move to approve resolution RC 27-25 as presented.
Second.
It has been moved and seconded to approve Resolution RC 27-25 as presented. This is a hand vote. All those in favor, raise your right hand. 8-0. Thank you very much. Next item is council to receive a summary of fiscally neutral second quarter appropriation transfers pursuant to Resolution RC 1-25. And then the next item is council to receive a summary of appropriations of second quarter grant proceeds pursuant to Resolution RC 2-25. These are items of report only. There's no action this evening, but we need to note that they have been presented to council in this formal setting. Any questions or comments about that? Hearing none, we have reached the end of our council agenda. Are there any council comments?
Madam President?
Yes, Mr. Elliott.
Street dance this Saturday, very exciting. One of the happenings in Noblesville, 6 to 11 on the square. And then also today, we have our sister cities arriving from Brazil and Italy. And I think Brazil already arrived today. And they're spending 11 days exploring Noblesville, Chicago. They have a camping trip coming up, so a little of everything.
Okay. We're excited to welcome to Noblesville. Yes. Anyone else? Okay, we are adjourned. Thank you all very much.